Hello, my name's Ian Dixon. I'm a member of Crawley Green Party and Crawley Extinction Rebellion. What I'd like to do is to talk to you about the climate emergency that's facing us all at the moment. We've been told recently from a United Nations IPCC report that the top climate scientists are telling us we've got 10 years to get our act together. Now, that's not a lot of time, because what they're suggesting to us that there's a thing called a tipping point, which means irreversible climate change, which we can do nothing about, and whatever we do would have no effect. Now, they've also been telling us that there are 1 million species of animals and plants on the verge of extinction. 1/3 of all insects on the verge of extinction. You may have known, you've seen yourself, there have been recently over the last 10 years record temperatures and record rainfall that have been going on in this country and elsewhere around the world. Siberia, right at this moment, in the Arctic Circle, there are raging fires going over a whole area the size of Belgium. In Greenland, the ice shelf is currently melting away, pouring billions of tons of water into the oceans, and it's all been already recorded that the sea levels have risen. So there are lots of things, and these are just a few things of giving examples of climate change. Now the reason is, this is all down to human activity, down to the things that we do as human beings. It's also down to the relentless drive that we have in our economies to carry on producing and growing relentlessly without stop, exploiting natural resources that we never think about because it's growing our economy to do so. The way we consume, people buy things day in, day out, then they throw away these items, not thinking about what's happening to these items and what we're doing every day. This has brought us to the brink of disaster. Now, this could place huge pressure on our water and food resources. Water could start drying up. If the weather gets hotter, our freshwater resources could dry up, our crops could die and wither away. In turn, that may actually cause war over the diminishing water and food resources we have, and also cause places in the world to be so uninhabitable, so hot, that mass migration could occur. Like we've been seeing from Africa to Europe, this would be millions, not thousands, millions of people moving because they can no longer live in the countries that they live now. We have got to change our behaviours and actions. We have got to change. We've got to stop using fossil fuels for one thing, and replace those fossil fuels with renewable energy sources. They are clean and don't pollute. We've also got to replace all the vehicles that use fossil fuels like petrol and diesel, and use electric and other forms of power such as hydrogen instead of petrol and diesel cars. We've also got to change the way our economies are based. They shouldn't be profit-making based economies, but environmentally based is the first call on any economy. We have to change the way we produce and process things that we buy and make. And we also have to think very, very clearly and strongly about how we deal with the pollution and waste that we create. You've probably seen stories about plastic bags turning up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. All we do is go out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and dump them. And lots of species as a result in those oceans are dying because of the plastic, which is now on the seabed in microplastic beads, which we are probably consuming because we eat fish and other seafoods, and we're probably consuming them now, so we need to do something about that. Now the governments of the world can do something about that. If they all work together, they can actually make those changes. But they'll only make those changes if you and I and others as individuals put pressure on them, because they won't do it otherwise. If they see voters are moving in a certain direction, they may well follow. we as individuals can also help to make changes ourselves and make a difference. You could buy less things. A lot of people buy things unnecessarily. You don't always need to buy everything. You could eat less meat, perhaps become a vegetarian or a vegan even. Plant a tree. If you've got a garden, why don't you grow some fruit and veg to attract wildlife and also save on a bit of food costs there. Demand that your local supermarkets don't use so much plastic and also use local food supplies. Write an email to your local councillors or MPs demanding action be taken to save the environment, because if people to see that, things will happen. And perhaps more importantly, join a protest environmental campaigning group like Greenpeace, Extinction Rebellion, Friends of the Earth and many others that are out there at the moment. I've been campaigning for over 30 years on environmental issues. When I first started, hardly anybody was actually listening to these sort of things which were being said then. Things are happening. Young people have changed the whole narrative on the environmental campaign issue. Groups like Extinction Rebellion are actually showing the way. They are making people listen, and people are now talking about the environment and thinking about what changes they've got to make. We have got possibly 10 years to actually make these changes. Scientists are already saying that they may be wrong about 10 years. It could be accelerating 100 times quicker than they first thought. But we may have 10 years. So I would ask people to do what they can. Join those campaigners. Do something about helping the environment, because time is running out for us. And if we don't start doing something now, we don't act to work together now, then it may be too late. But we do have 10 years, so there is still time for us to make the difference and save ourselves and the planet. Okay, thank you for listening, and go and join one of those groups, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.